Would you like to know my tricks for dealing with that toxic narcissist you can't avoid in your life? Well, then stay tuned.
The Narc Ninja, bringing you the tools and tactics to heal and deal with users and abusers. And now the Narc Ninja himself, Christopher Fairchild.
Hi, and welcome to the Narc Ninja channel. We are now in the 7th video of this 10-part limited series called the Narc Ninja 101 Survival Guide. In this video, I'm sharing strategies and survival tools I have been collecting and honing for over 25 years to not only cope with, but to deal with that narc you're kind of stuck with. It could be your boss at work, a family member, or an ex that you co-parent with, or even just someone on a planning committee that you're having a challenge with. Before we get going, I'm going to need to ask you to please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. It really makes a difference and I could use your help. And do all those other YouTubey things, like hitting that bell, commenting, or leaving me a question, and liking or not liking this video. What you're going to notice today is how much that 2-part section on communication self-defense in videos 4 and 5 of this series are a continuation on a theme of learning how to be tactical and functional, but not always necessarily as authentic as you would be with someone you already trust, like a dear friend. In other words, someone who's really earned you. By the way, put that friend thing in your back pocket for later in this video where they will be coming in very handy. I'm going to call this the no contact because this segment is all about how to leave the real you in the car while your Narc Ninja self goes in and effectively navigates the contact with that toxic person with the least negative outcomes possible. And please note, none of this applies in situations where you feel you may be at any physical risk. In those cases, obviously, you need to leave immediately and find safety. That said, the communication self-defense section in this series, videos 4 and 5, with all of those tactical stock responses come really into play here. And will some of this feel unfair, like you're giving them a free pass or like you're not being totally honest? Sure. But once again, unlike the rest of your life where your communication is usually very linked to being honest and true to who you are, tactical and self-defense communications are linked to outcomes like de-escalating and providing the least amount of unnecessary drama and emotional abuse. And please don't ever say anything like, I'm studying to become a Narc Ninja, and boy, are you going to be surprised when I start using my new tools on you. Yeah, remember the first rule of the Narc Ninja Club is to not talk about the Narc Ninja Club. Okay, I just wanted to make triple sure you got that one. Okay, so I got to say, the best part of all this Narc Ninja stuff is that the narc has nothing to do with any of it. Being a badass Narc Ninja boss is all an inside job. So it's no one's damn business but yours, and you always have all the ultimate control of how to choose to respond and when and what and how to strategically communicate. And the more you practice these techniques, the better you're going to become at earning your Narc Ninja status in all unexpected future narkiness. The first real step is making sure you have completely, and I know this is easier said than done, but completely let go of and given up on this person ever being who they should have been, who they said they were, and who you want them to be. It may even be your own mom for some of you in this struggle. And still, the truth remains, the more you can stop wishing for things that will absolutely never happen, the easier it will be to navigate those dreaded interactions. Radical acceptance is key, and that means seeing them for who they truly are. And thank God you can't ultimately relate to a maladaptive narcissist. Look, when someone is consistently controlling, difficult, demanding, entitled, gaslighting, high conflict, and pathological, you're going to need all the Narc Ninja hazmat gear you can get your hands on. Look, I grew up in the entertainment industry on movie sets, television, and recording studios, mostly in Los Angeles, and hundreds of performance venues all over the globe. And believe me, those are some of the narcissism capitals of the world. So my school of life, PhD in narcissism, was really hard won, one brick at a time. I then spent over a decade researching narcissism specifically and abuse dynamics to finally get to where I now am in my healing journey. And I may have originally gotten some of these tools from my seemingly endless and ongoing research, but that is not just learned knowledge like so many of these folks out here on the YouTubes. These are tools I have road tested myself as an abuse survivor that have worked for me personally. The most important step in all of this is preparation, and much of the preparation is about what you mindfully decide ahead of time. None of this is going to work if the first time the narc tries to trigger you, you allow yourself to reflexively go back into your story about how aggressive and unfair they're being. Of course, that's how they're going to be. That's how they always are. That's how they've always been, and probably how they always will be. I'm here to help you put your understandable upset and frustration just on hold until you're safely away from that toxic person that you have to deal with. We're going to be talking about something I call leaving it in the car, but you can pick any neutral place in your life that's away from the narc. I'm asking you to visualize putting all of your thoughts and feelings somewhere safe where you can get back to them later, so that for the time being, you can keep the valid and reactive part of you out of this interaction with the, and I'm going to use an advanced technical term here, jackass. Once you've gotten all of that handled, it's time to give yourself what I'm calling the Narc Immunity Pep Talk. This is a sort of meeting that you have with yourself before you ever engage with maybe even sometimes funny or charming, but still nuclear waste dump of a person. For this interaction, I'd like you to make a quick meeting agenda for yourself. And this little agenda could be your handlebars of intention to grab hold of if you do start to feel upset or shaky. It's the promises you're making to yourself to have the outcomes that you are available for. You're making conscious choices about your intentions in this interaction. And in this case, intention is power. For instance, you're committing to taking zero responsibility for their requirements for all the shared tasks. You will do your part only. You're agreeing to give up ever having a meeting of the minds, or feeling heard or understood, cared about or agreed with. You're going to leave your authentic self along with your inner empath and understandable and valid feelings in the car. You then are ready to make a sort of game, hopefully, of feeling frustrated, irritated, aggravated, or even angry, while never ever letting them see anything but your emotionally balanced mask of centered neutrality. In other words, the adult in the room. Your meeting agenda may be some simple bullet points. It may look something like this. Let's say this is a meeting where someone is picking up their kid from their NE or narcissistic ex's house, who always tries to start trouble because that's what they do. Okay, let's say number one, promise yourself that you will remain neutral no matter what. This is not a friendship or family relationship. This is a job and or a service relationship. I'm committing to being functional and non-emotional. I am not here to express feelings. I'm here to get something done. My plan is to keep it brief. I'm going to get in, get it done, and get out. I promise to have my Narc Ninja communication self-defense stock responses at the ready at all times to help me peaceably respond and ignore any and all attempts to get me upset or offended. And if I do, I promise not to tell my face. No matter how the narc behaves, I will greet them and thank them for watching our child with a smile. I am only here to pick up my child. Their fully packed backpack, including their cell phone, even if I have to pack it myself, and that book I need to return to my neighbor tonight. And I will pleasantly thank them again before we leave. So here we had just 5 things in the meeting agenda to remember. And having prepared like this ahead of time, we are hugely more likely to be successful and not get into it with them. Their whole game is to try to get you to express some emotions, any kind they can sink their teeth into. And seriously, consider thinking of all of this like it's a game. Like that game, where someone is trying to get you to laugh. Make this a game of not letting the goat getter get your goat, or at least not letting them see you getting your goat gone. Say that 5 times fast. This is not exactly going gray rock, but you are now being responsive and not reactive, like they're probably used to. They may try to get you to escalate when you show up refusing to give them any reaction to feed off of, and that's okay. Just stay in your new zone of calm adult until you're out of there. And I promise you, they don't even see you as a person. So why let them in at all? Stay in your Trojan horse of functionality and neutrality, and tell your feelings to stay out of it just for now. For several years, I worked as a mental health social worker with clients who were unhoused, low functioning, and mostly unmedicated and struggling with psychoses. Rare was the time that I took any of the sometimes extreme drama personally, because I was in a clinical role as a facility manager. And in these exchanges you're having with these narcs you're currently stuck with, try starting to regard them as your somewhat lower functioning and or emotionally dysregulated clients. I've had some students from my workshops and a few neighbors in the past who started to become friends, who then started becoming high conflict, boundary crossing, and inappropriately demanding people in my life. And just acknowledging to myself that I'd simply had them on the wrong list and I needed to move them from the friend to the client list was such a sanity saver. I can't recommend using this reframe enough. The more you practice using these tools, the better you are going to get at that. And you're going to end up having them become second nature. Review these videos so you don't forget any of these tactics. Like if the narc tries to D.A.R.V.O, defend, attack, and reverse victim offender roles, you now know to make sure you don't J.A.D.E, justify, argue, defend, and explain in response. Also, don't forget that that Narc Ninja tool I call Isn't That Interesting from video 5 that shifts you from participant to observer. Look, all these things, like anything else, is going to take practice and it will improve over time. But just knowing you have a bag of tools will already help you feel more grounded and prepared for those unexpected narc attacks. Lastly, when I said to keep your dear friend in your back pocket, this is where you've called your trusted friend ahead of time and let them know you're going to be seeing the narc, and ask them if you can call them sometime afterward to sort of decompress. You're doing this not so much because you will for sure need to decompress after seeing the narc. That's so while you're there with the narc and that narc is baiting you and trying to get you upset, you can really comfort and soothe yourself with your own quiet inner dialogue, knowing that while you can't express all of yourself while you're with the dragon, as it were, that as soon as you can, you're going to be able to let it all out and say everything you couldn't to someone that's safe, someone you really trust. And if you have one of those really good ones, they may even say things like, "Oh my God, I can't believe they said that to you," or "How unfair," or "Wow, you really handled all of that like a boss. I am so proud of you." I love those kinds of friends. Those are the keepers. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't, like or dislike, leave a comment or a question, and ring that bell. The next video is called Stop and Watch Before You Go No Contact. I'll be going over every Narc Ninja thing you'll need to know ahead of time. What to expect before you even go NC or no contact. And a huge warning some of you may need to hear. I hope you found this helpful today. Thank you so much for spending time with me and for watching. Until we meet again, remember to keep shining your light and be you to the full.